In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to connect to the Airtable API and make your first successful test request. We'll go through the full setup process in a simple, practical way so you understand not just what to click, but why each part matters. By the end, you'll have the key pieces you need to let another app or tool communicate with Airtable securely. Start by opening Airtable and going to the Developer Hub. This is where Airtable provides the tools and settings related to API access. If you're new to this area, take a moment to look around because this is where you'll manage the credentials and permissions that control how external requests interact with your data. Next, create a personal access token. This token works like a secure key that allows API requests to authenticate with your Airtable account. When you create it, be careful to store it somewhere safe because you may not be able to view it again later in the same way. It's also important to treat this token like a password and avoid sharing it publicly or placing it in unsecured files. After that, choose the API scopes for the token. Scopes define exactly what the token is allowed to do. For example, you might allow it to read records, write records, or perform both actions depending on your use case. The best practice here is to give only the permissions you actually need. That helps keep your setup more secure and reduces the risk of unintended changes. Once the scopes are selected, choose the base that the API should be able to access. This step links the token to the specific Airtable base you want to work with. If you have multiple bases in your account, double check that you're selecting the correct one before moving on. Now copy the Airtable base ID. This ID is essential because it tells Airtable exactly which base your API request is targeting. You'll use it in the request URL, so make sure you copy it accurately. Then build the API request URL using the base ID and the table name. The URL points your request to the exact location of the data you want to work with. In other words, the base ID identifies the base and the table name identifies the specific table inside it. Next, add the authorization header using your personal access token. This is the part of the request that proves you have permission to access the Airtable data. Without it, the request will usually fail. Finally, send a test request to confirm that everything works. If the request succeeds, you've connected to the Airtable API correctly. If it doesn't, review the token, scopes, base access, base ID, table name, and authorization header carefully, since small setup mistakes are often the cause.